Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Us People Show. I'm your host, Savia Rocks, and today I am humbled to have Gaise Baba here with me, who's widely referred to as culture, culture architect, entrepreneur, and award-winning Afro fusion artist. Gaise Baba, thank you so much for taking your time to come on the Us People Show. How are you? He's smiling, so that's a good start. I like that. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on the Us People Show.
You are more than welcome. You seem pretty chilled out today, so that's what I like to know. So, my first question for you is could you tell me a bit about your background, where you grew up, and how that influenced you to be the person who you are today?
Right. So I'm Nigerian, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
I come from the southwestern part of Nigeria, and more specifically from Ekiti State, even
Wow.
though I was born in Ile-Ife. So I grew up in Ile-Ife. The first decade of my life was in Ile-Ife. Ile-Ife is known as the cradle of the Yoruba race.
I like that. Mm-hmm.
So Yoruba people, and you have Yoruba people in Nigeria, in Benin Republic, in Togo, in Brazil, in Cuba, in the Caribbeans, you know. But Ile-Ife is regarded as the source of the Yoruba race. That's where I was born. And that I think in a way that has influenced why there's a lot of, you know, I mean, I use the Yoruba language in my music, so it's kind of
Yeah.
like a mix of Yoruba English and then Pidgin English, which is like the street language in West Africa, in Anglophone West Africa, right?
Yeah.
So there's a mix of all of that. And my Yoruba is quite fresh, it's original, not adulterated. So, yeah, I guess that part of my upbringing influences my music in that way.
That's what I love to hear, that the culture of what you do influences your music, which I'm definitely going to get into later on in the show. But one thing I would love to know more about is about you as a person and defining who you are a bit more. So, could you define yourself as a person, but also who do you see when you look in the mirror? But on the flip side of that question, has there ever been a time where you have looked in the mirror and not recognized the person staring back at you? How did you manage to go from being one person that you may not have liked to see the reflection of to becoming the person who you are now, or maybe even on your journey and liking that person or that version of you?
Who do I see when I look in the mirror? Now, I see a bold, brave, audacious,
Oh,
yeah, audacious go-getter. I believe that um, I have a message to share with the world,
mm,
and I'm stopping at nothing at sharing it. I'm not shy to share it.
good.
Um, you know, and even if it faces disagreement from certain quarters, it's fine. I'm not ice cream. Not everybody will like me or agree, so that's fine with me.
Mm,
Were there times when I wasn't comfortable with what I was saying? Yeah, yeah, there was. Now I'm quite big on faith, so I'm a faith focused individual,
yeah,
you know. So maybe the period before I was this person who was quite um, you know quite spirit conscious and
yes,
faith inclined, right? So maybe the period be prior to this.
yeah,
Yeah, maybe I'm not proud of that period, or I'm glad that I've evolved or changed into who I am
yeah.
now. Yeah, so I guess that answers your question.
Yeah, of course it does. No, definitely. And the one thing I like what you said is that not everyone is gonna like what you do. Everyone likes something different in the world, and there's nothing wrong with that. And there might be which I'm going to get into a few of your songs, that because I've managed to listen to quite a few of your songs and get to understand who you are as a person. You have messages in your songs. I say the wise will hear them and feel them. So the one thing I do want to understand is, how did your musical journey begin? Was there a family member who played music when you were younger and that touched your soul? Was there, because you're also a writer as well, writing plays a significant part in how we express ourselves, in how we articulate ourselves in the world, and how we express ourselves through our music so it catches the soul of other people. How do you, as a person, believe your journey began emotionally and connected with music?
So the person in my family will be my mother.
Mm,
So my mother has always been big on music. She loves music. She always bought records by traditional Nigerian musicians. People like people. I mean, I don't know if your listeners would know, but musicians like Ebenezer Obey,
yeah.
musicians like Fumi Aragbaye. There's this guy called Telemi. These are guys I grew up listening to, right? And there was a lot of church music as well. In
Yes.
fact, what she would do was she would take myself and my elder sisters. I'm the only boy and I'm the youngest. So she'll take
Ah,
myself,
yeah.
yeah. So she'll take myself and my younger sisters and take us to church or churches and have us sing as a group.
Yep.
So I did that. I First time I sang in public, I was 4 years old,
Yes, mommy. Well done.
and I harmonized. As young as I was, I sang a harmony. My sister took the melody, I sang the harmony. So yes, I believe she sowed that seed in my soul and my heart.
See, this is why I love music, because it plays a significant part of who we are as people and how we portray that. So one thing that I was looking at your podcast as well, called Black Flame, and
Yeah.
you do talk about really good subjects that a lot of people shy away from. I think it's good because, especially within communities as well, a lot of the time, maybe because of culture, we shy away and we hide the things that we go through, because a lot of cultures will say, this is meant to stay at home. Do not
Yeah.
say my business out in public. I'll beat you if you do. All these things. So this is exactly what I want to talk about. So some of the subjects that you talk about on your podcast, especially, is no turning back, dealing with loss, why church music is limited, and one of them was, because we're on the subject of music, I want to talk to you about why you believe that church music is so limited. What are your views on that?
Well, when I say church music is limited, I actually mean that from a Christian point of view, and
Hmm.
it's actually is a new thought as far as
Okay.
it comes to Christian music or people who
Yeah.
play Christian music. Because over time, when people think Christian music, they think church music.
Yeah.
And the understanding that I now have is there has to be more to faith-based and faith-inclined music than church music. We can't
Yeah.
all be church-based artists. There have to be some of us who are engaging the world, who are going and engaging spaces and playing at festivals. So if I make rap music, even if my content is heavy on faith or inspired by faith, it's rap music. Rap music is rap music.
That's true.
So the next rap artist can rap about drugs and objectify women with his music, and it's all
Mm,
right. Then why should it not be all right for me to make rap music and I'm talking about faith? Do you
true.
understand what I mean? So
Yeah, I do. I
I
do.
believe I'm even carrying more light in my music. I'm carrying more light in my music So why would an artist uh, um whose message is inherently destructive to the psyche of our young people
Mhm.
be celebrated? And I'm putting light in my music, trying to improve society. I mean, if you look through my music, you'll find different aspects of the music that align with even the SDGs,
Yes.
the developmental goals. My music is
Yes.
helping the world, man. My music is helping society. Man. I'm going around high schools in my country, and I'm doing things that contribute to the advancement of society, contributing to the advancement of humanity. I'm doing music that ensures that our young girls don't get pregnant and miss out on education. I'm doing music
Yes.
that ensures that our young people don't get into drugs, don't get into vices. And then why would I not be able to take that music and go into all the world with it and share it with any and everybody? Festivals
Mm.
in Germany, festivals in the Netherlands, in America, in Cuba. You get what I mean? Why must that music be restricted to the four walls of a religious organization? That's what I'm saying. So I'm saying yes, church music is limited, and I'm not going to be refined to those walls, basically.
I like the fact that you said that, because a lot of the time when I listen to gospel music, it's a beautiful music to actually listen to, and the messages within, gospel music, or any type of music, like you said, it could be rap, it could be anything, gives something to the soul that resonates you on another level, on a spiritual level, another level, completely another level. So my next one for you is, how do you believe that music serves a universal language to transcend barriers and connect people on a deeper level?
I mean, various musicians have done that. The musicians that come to mind right now, uh, like Bob Marley, like Fela
Yes.
Kuti, like Majek Fashek, like Lucky Dube. These were messengers through music, right? They had a message, a central message, and they kept writing, creating, and putting out music that further pushed that message,
Yes.
right? So, and their music transcended their country of birth. Fela transcended Nigeria. Bob Marley transcended Jamaica. Lucky
Mm.
Dube transcended South Africa. Majek Fashek transcended Nigeria. Same thing with Oliver Mtukudzi from Zimbabwe. You have,
Yes.
I mean, these are the ones I know and that I've kind of like studied and read up on and try to check the trajectory of their career and their journey so that I can, be inspired by that but still find my unique path. Right. So yeah, music is very universal and can transcend cultures, can transcend nations, transcend cities.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with that, and I believe I'm on a journey to carving my own, you know, route, path, and community, you know, across the world. You get
Your
what I mean?
community plays a massive part in everything you do. Community is massive, you know, definitely is. So let's talk about the messages in some of your songs, and I want to break down your lyrical content as well. So, Emergency, talk to me about
Right.
where your mind was creatively, because this is actually a beautiful thing when a writer decides to break down what they're doing, how they're doing it, and then pull it in their music so everyone can hear the emotions and the story that they're trying to tell. So when you was writing Emergency, where was your creative and mental state?
Beautiful, beautiful. Interestingly, Emergency is possibly the favorite of all my songs for me
Mm.
personally, you know, and it's because, you know, when I share, I do, like, how do I put it? My music is an extension of myself,
It's true. It
you
is.
know. So Emergency came out of an understanding that I had gotten for myself.
Yeah.
right? At the time I got that understanding, I wasn't trying to write a song, but I had that instrumentation months after, and as I just heard it, that thought and that understanding that I had was on my mind. So it came to the fore of my mind. I'm like, okay. So I had inspiration to write about it or to write
Yeah.
from it. And then I started to, create the song, right? And it's a song that speaks on fidelity in marriage. I'm married myself. I'm married with kids. And so
Yes.
it's important. It's important to me to stay faithful to my spouse, stay faithful to my wife, stay faithful to my family, right? And I saw from that story, there's a story in the Bible about David and Bathsheba, who was
Yes.
someone else's wife. And David, literally committed adultery, right? Went to bed with her, got her pregnant, and then killed her husband because he was trying to cover his misdeed, right? So, uh, um, I found that story very, inspiring, and so that was why that song came from that. And then I wrote about it. The first verse, trust, the first verse was, you know, descriptive, just, a bit abstract. Even though I took some parts from scriptures. The second verse was where I then talked about the story between David and Bathsheba, and then I built the story into the second verse. Then in the bridge, I then was admonishing people and saying stuff like, if you heard it, I said, "But be firewood" is a popular saying in Nigeria, which is like, I mean, you have emotions. You don't think you can't. Don't think you can't fall for a temptation, right? So you have to
Oh,
have your
you should.
guards up and be ready. You get. So so I said stuff like, even if you did for fire, they go near fire, which is like, you are not wood, you don't be going near fire, which was quite metaphorical. You are not wood, don't go near fire, even if you're in the choir, body is in firewood, you get.
See,
So that's
so
emergency, and it's a song that goes to my heart.
see, I love that. See, that's why I always talk to artists, especially about why they write a song, because a lot of people may not understand their emotions or what they're going through in that time in their life. It could be a time changing moment for them in their life, and that's why they're writing exactly what they're articulating, so everyone else can hear this. So let's talk about Live in Lagos. Talk to me about the message behind Live in Lagos.
So life in Lagos was a concept.
Hmm.
So it was Gaise Baba life in Lagos,
Yeah.
life in concert. So you have all the various songs that were performed at the concert. So there was Surely, there was Emergency, Tokam. So if it's Surely, for instance, Surely is like a dreamer's song. That's a dreamer saying, "I'm in my country, I'm in my locality, but I'm gonna be heard around the world.
Yes.
My sound is going to travel the world." So if you hear
Hmm.
the parts in the song that says to the uttermost parts of the earth, and I was actually even calling nations, and I was saying stuff like, well, I was chronicling my journey actually. So the second part of the verse that says, "Through it all, with so many ups and downs, yet God has been helping me. Every moment and every second, God has been with me." Then I go, "Surely I'll be heard nearby, surely I'll be heard afar." Then I
Yes.
say, I call cities within my country, I call cities abroad. And I'm saying to the uttermost part of the earth. And which is what has started to happen now. I mean, I'm live on LCB and TV. Come on.
See, I like that. See, you have to do what you love in life because if you don't do it, someone else will. I always say that to people. And people are always going to have an opinion on what you do and how you do it, but you must always believe in yourself and the path that is chosen for you. No one can change that path. I always say that. So you're widely referred to as culture architect. Talk to me about that because I'm really intrigued by that.
Yeah, I mean, it simply means that I'm trying to shape culture.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to shape culture. That's my work. That's the the overarching thing of my life's work, at least right now,
Yes.
is to shape culture. So whether it's with the music or with Light Out, with which I go with other artists around high schools in my country, or with Aramanda, which is an Afro urban music festival, or is with
Yes.
Black Flame, the podcast. Every expression of mine is with a bid to shape the thinking of a people, is to pass along an ideology that I believe strongly in. So my music and my expressions are a vehicle to carry that ideology and disseminate it around the world and just build believers and those who would embrace that ideology and live by it.
See, this is what I know that you have a jacket that says culture architect on, which I saw, which I thought was pretty cool because you're letting the world know exactly what you're trying to shape in the world. And a lot of people will ask you the question of how can you shape culture? How can you shape, which is actually a really good question to ask you on how you believe that you can shape culture because culture has its own way of shaping itself. But how do you articulate of shaping it?
Well, I don't think culture shapes itself.
Mm,
There are always people behind the shaping of culture.
I like that.
So
I like that.
many times people see what is happening,
Mhm.
but behind what is happening, there is what is going on. So there are people that architect the next phase of mankind, whether on a global level or on a continental level or on a national level or on a societal level. There is the few that chart the course for the many. And most
Yeah,
times the many are not aware. They think that things are just happening. No, things don't just happen. Some people make things happen. So
it's true.
some people make things happen. Some people watch things happen while most others just wonder what's happening.
That's that is so true.
So I want to be and already am being part of those who will make things happen.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes so one thing I know within the music industry is there is a lot of competition. There's always competition in the music industry for you to stay fresh, for you to stay current, for you to tell a good message, for people to notice you, for you to get attention. How do you believe that you stay fresh and current and so that people give you the attention that you deserve and need in order for you to spread your message?
I think just by staying true to myself,
I like that.
you know, it's easy to get distracted
It is.
um, when you are when you are focusing on what other people are doing and you are
Mm,
comparing yourself to them. And you know, I mean, I've been a professional musician for 14 years.
see?
I became professional in 2010. I haven't all I have done has been music and music center since
Yes,
2010, right? And I've seen artists come and artists go. I've
that's
seen
true.
artists rise, get to the top, and they are still there. I've seen I've seen artists rise, get to the top, and drop. I've seen artists come, no rise, leave, and go do something else. In all of that, I try to focus on my path.
Yes.
I I believe I'm here for the long haul.
Mhm.
I'm not trying to. In Nigeria, it's called blow. I don't want to just blow and go.
Yeah.
Right?
For
I,
that. Yep.
I want a career where not 40 years after I've been saying, 40 years after I've gone,
Mm-hmm.
after I've transcended to another realm in eternity, my impact is still being felt like I were around.
Yes, the one.
So I like to say stuff like I'll always be here even when I'm gone.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
That makes.
So I try to have this mindset and keep my focus, not listen to the noise,
Mhm.
block out the noise, and just have zero focus. Focus on my path and keep moving. Just keep moving.
We all have a different definition of what success means to us in our lives. For some people, success could mean just waking up in the morning just to see another beautiful day. Success for another person could be passing their driving test. Success could be fighting cancer. But for you, what does success mean to you and your definition of what success is?
Success for me will be knowing that I'm smack in the center of God's will for my life
I like that.
and that God is proud of me.
I think he
Success.
was always proud. I think he was always proud of you because you chose a path that helps other people and you done it in a selfless mannerism.
I want to believe so as well.
Listen, we all do things in life that we feel are, mistakes, or we feel we have skeletons in our closet. But I believe that in life, without those mistakes, they're lessons in our lives that helps us to grow and evolve as people. So there's never anything wrong with it. There's never. So if I asked you if there was one song in the history of music that is the soundtrack of your life, what song would you choose and why would you choose that particular song?
So will I.
Oh,
Hillsong.
okay.
So will I.
Talk to me
I
about.
First of all, I believe that's the greatest written song of all time.
Mm,
Personally, that's my the greatest song ever written. I think is that song.
okay.
And there's a way it describes the magnitude of God's creation.
Mm-hmm.
Talks about how the creation expresses worship, how the various aspects of creation expresses worship just by functioning in design.
Yes.
And then saying, if these elements of creation are worshiping by functioning in design,
Mm-hmm.
that's exactly what I want to do. So will I. If if the rocks cry out in silence, so will I.
Mm,
If the wind goes where you send it, so will I. If the sum of all our praises still fall shy, so will I. So
mm,
it's it, it's poetic, it's inspiring, it's challenging, it's moving. Soundtrack to my life, so will I.
I like that. I know
It
that
says
in our lives.
you're the one who never leaves the one behind.
Aha.
It says you're the one who never leaves the one behind. Every time I I hear that line, the work we do around high schools comes to
Mm,
my mind because it speaks about how you do not neglect who others have neglected.
yeah.
And where I'm from, most people chase those who have money. Most people
That's very
chase
true.
those
Yeah.
who are close to having money.
Mm.
So when we go to high schools, they don't have anything. They're just children, young teenagers, preteens. So us going after this demographic and impacting them, that line always gets me and lets me know I'm doing the right thing. You're the one that never leaves the one behind.
I like that. I'm gonna put it on my playlist and listen to it. I'm definitely gonna put it on. I know that in life there are teachers who come in and out of our life that play a significant part of who we become. Talk to me about some of the people who have been a mentor or a teacher to you that has helped you in your life.
First is my mother,
Yes.
Sarah Ibue. Next is the founder of the youth ministry where I grew up,
Hmm.
at Joe Jesimel Ogwe. Then is my pastor,
Yeah.
Paul Joyemade. Then someone who is like the person who has kind of like guided me the most in my journey.
Mm.
That's Olakunle Shoreyan. Then is a man who is like a marriage mentor.
Yes.
So
I
myself
love
and my wife, you know, um, find inspiration in their marriage and
yes.
also get counsel directly from them.
I
That's
like
AG and Tom Adelabu. Those
yeah.
five.
I like that. I like the fact that a lot of people wouldn't even dream of going to counseling or having someone who would mentor them in marriage. So I commend you for doing it because it shows the connection between you both.
Thank you.
I do. If there was an artist in the world that you would love to work with, who would our artist be and why?
Alive or dead or alive?
Oh, okay, let's get them. Let's get
So are you saying can I mention someone even if the person has
Of
passed on, or
course
does
you
it
can.
have to be
You
someone
can do
alive?
both. So let's do one where they've passed away, one present still alive.
Right. One who has passed away will it's tough. Can I do two?
Oh, that's cheating. That's
Can I do two who have passed away?
Go on. Go on, do the two.
Okay. So first will be Bob Marley.
Okay, I knew that would be one. Go on.
Second will be Oliver Mtukudzi.
Oh wow, yes.
Oliver Mtukudzi.
Mm,
Mtukudzi.
okay.
He's Zimbabwean, or he was
Okay.
Zimbabwean. I never met him. In fact, I found out about him after he had passed. But there was just this strong connection with his music. I heard from him, I heard this sentence from him: you never sing unless you have something to say. And it stuck with me. You
Is
never
that
sing unless you have something to say. I feel like there's so much music right now. There's no message in it.
I agree with you. Oh, believe me, I agree with you.
So we'll leave him to Kudzi. If I could bring any, in fact, if I was to pick one, it would be tough to pick one between Bob Marley and Oliver Kudzi. But I just might pick Oliver to Kudzi just because he's African.
Just because he's African.
He's African. Yeah, yeah.
And what about someone who's alive?
See, I wear it on my chest, man.
Yeah, no, it's a fair point. You're representing where you come from, so it's a fair point. But I
Yeah,
know that even if you didn't choose Bob Marley, I'm sure that he would still come and do a song with you because he understands the cultural,
yeah,
diversity
yeah,
that you bring
yeah,
in.
yeah. So alive, though my manager is across the screen, so he's laughing. alive. So just because I mentioned two for those who have passed, I'll do the same. I'll do the same for alive. And the first will be Lauren Daigle.
Oh, I like that one. Why?
Why? I don't really have an answer, but I think maybe it's been a while I listened to her, and I listened again today, and just immediately I listened, I was just like, I would love to do a song with Lauren Daigle. So since it's fresh in my mind, Lauren Daigle.
Okay, we're gonna make that happen. We're gonna manifest it. We're gonna make it happen. Okay.
All right. So the second that I was going to say, I just realized that my manager will laugh again because now I see we've talked about that one. For ah, so what's coming to my mind then? What's coming to my mind is King and Country.
Oh, that's a good one.
For King and Country.
Mm.
Yeah, I love to do a song for King and Country.
No, that's a good one. I like that one. What is the one thing you have always wanted to do but haven't had the chance to do it that will help impact your life but also help you to evolve as a person?
You have such deep questions.
It's good because I get to find out who you are and
What's the
where you
one thing
are.
that I've always wanted to do
Mm-hmm.
that I have not been able to do, but that I
Uh-huh.
know would impact my life and help me in the work
Yeah,
that I do, right?
exactly.
Be able to travel the world at the speed of thought.
Oh, that's a good one.
What that means is not needing to apply for visas. Yeah,
You know that's the truth. And it's just
the visa is not nature. It's the
it,
creation of man
it's the creation of being able to have power over people.
reacting to the unguardedness of fellow men.
No, that's true. It's being able to have power over another person to dictate whether or not they are allowed to be in a country
Mm.
or not, which is political. And I know that
Yes,
we can get into that.
yes. So if you say one thing I've always wanted to do that I've not been able to do yet, that will help my cause, help
Hmm.
the nation, yes, to be able to travel at the speed of thought.
I think you
That
should
means I
become.
say I need to be in Cuba tomorrow, and I can get
Mhm.
up and go to Cuba.
You don't even need to get up. You just think, and your body just takes you there.
And that's another level altogether.
Who was one of the first people in your life that gave you a chance? The reason why I ask this question is I believe in life, chances are given to everyone in order to help them get to or want to be the person that they are. Can you tell me anybody who has given you a chance that's helped you?
Yeah, his name is Joshua Adeyemi.
Okay.
When I joined the youth ministry I talked about, it's called
Hmm.
Young Disciples International.
Yes.
Um, he was kind of like the head of the creatives. He was the
Yeah.
singer. He was the big star, and I just started writing, and he heard from a third party that I had started writing music,
Yeah.
and he called me and said I was going to go on stage and sing. I said, "What? Nah." And he pushed me till I said I couldn't. I couldn't. He said, "Okay, this guy who told me has been singing and performing, so he has more boldness. Teach him
Yes.
your song. Let him sing one verse so that he can go with you on stage."
Yeah.
He pushed me that much. And I went on stage with this guy. I sang, and the reaction of the audience told me there's something here. And that's how I then doubled down on it and kept writing more. So that singular push from Joshua Deyemi is worthy of praise from me, and I'll always be grateful for it.
I love that. See, this is what I like. What is the best advice you have ever received from someone? And I know there are different stages in our life where we receive advice from people, which helps us. But what is the best advice you believe that you have received from someone that has
The
helped you?
one, the one that comes to my mind right away is the label boss, the person who signed me, the boss at the label I was signed to, my first
Yes.
record deal from
Mm,
2010 2015. Towards the end of my deal, I was about to get married,
okay.
and he said to me, he said, "Gaze, if your marriage fails, it's your fault.
Ah,
It's not your wife's fault. It's not both of you's fault. It's your fault. You have to have that mindset as the head of the home for the
okay.
marriage to work." I never forgot. So I saw it as the destiny and the success of my marriage is heavily
Mhm.
dependent on me as the head of the marriage, as the man, as the head, you know. And I so that is one advice I've taken to heart and I live by in my marriage.
Do men feel, and this is just a random question, do men feel a lot of pressure being the head of the household, knowing that they,
Any man, any man that understands what it means
mm,
to be the head and the share responsibility
yeah,
will feel some pressure.
yeah,
Will feel some pressure because it's not. I mean, the dictates of the Bible as regards marriage, people argue a lot about the role of the woman needing to
mm,
submit. But I say that's because we don't understand what was asked of the man. If
mm,
we understand what was asked of the man, you realize that submission is cake compared to that. Because literally what was asked of the man is death. Because it says you should love your wife as Christ loved the church and gave himself for her. That's death. So it means sacrificing all that concerns you for the sake of your home, for the sake of your wife, for the sake of everyone else in the family. You are putting yourself in line. That's what it is. So it's a huge responsibility, like a super, super huge responsibility that is placed on the shoulders of the man. It's not
yeah.
beans.
I've always wanted to understand it a lot more from a man's perspective because it has to come from a sort of place of understanding and knowing that a lot of men, I know that times have changed and a lot of women are now the head of the household. And I
How
just
do
want
you
to,
how do you how do you define headship?
well, it depends on how you define the man who is
No,
the head of the
like
household.
I'm asking you. You say a lot of women are now the head of the home. I'm saying, how do you define headship?
See, this is the thing. There are many ways to define it. So a man can define it by the man is the supportive mechanism. A man defines it because I've heard a lot of people say, and I've interviewed a lot of people who say, a man is the head of a household because he's bringing in an income. A man is the head of a household because he keeps his family and support together. A man is the head of a household because of strength. But women do these things too. So this is why I always like to ask people the definition of how they feel about a man or a woman being the head of the household because there are different terminologies to this. And this is why I want to ask you the question.
So I believe that headship is a function of vision.
I like the terminology.
It's a function of vision. So you're the person who is determining the direction the home is headed.
Yes,
You are giving spiritual leadership,
yes, massively.
guidance,
Mhm.
direction. right? There is a lot more to leadership and headship than financial supply.
Exactly.
We reduce headship to financial supply, which is why you have a lot of financially supplying idiots. It's not by financial supply.
I've
That's an
never ever, I've
that's an
never ever regulated my marriage by that.
that's an aspect, right? But anybody can earn. Even these days, fools are earning. Once they can
Yeah,
gather
it's true.
views, you gather views. Even foolishness is a value now that can earn.
Mm,
Because there are many people who will gather to come and watch the foolishness,
that's true.
right? So it can't be just a function of that. There's a more purposeful dimension to headship,
Yep,
a vision casting, vision giving dimension to headship.
yep,
So you must give direction to the home, right? You are the one holding the rudder,
yes,
determining the direction the ship is headed. It's
yes.
different things, right? That's how I see it.
No, I'm glad that you put it in that way. I'm glad you articulated it in that way for people to understand because the amount of people that I've spoken to, and that is the answer that they give me. And in life, I always believe that you must give people a platform to say what they want to say, even if you don't necessarily agree with it in that way. It's good to still let people have their say and have their opinion. So, my next one for you is, when was the last time that you felt totally at peace with who you are as a person?
Right now.
I like that. That's good enough for me. That is honestly good enough for me. That works. My next one for you is, what advice would you give to your friends, family, people who follow you, your community about not giving up, staying positive, regardless of the circumstances that they are in now? What advice would you give to them to help uplift them as a being, as a person, as a spiritual
You
person?
know, in my country, in Nigeria, there's a popular saying, it's a slang, it's a funny saying. They say, now who give up, mess up. That it is the person that gives up that has messed up.
But it's the way you say it that makes me laugh because I can just
Now who give up,
see
messed
it.
up. Now who give up, mess up. Why you go give up? Tides change, man. Tides change anytime. Why would
Sometimes people can't take, you know what it is? Sometimes in life, people can't take the change that's happening or what they're going through, you know? But the saying does make a lot of sense. It does make a lot of sense to me.
you have to understand seasons.
Yes,
If it's only one season, life will be boring.
that's true. Yeah, it
You
would be.
appreciate summer because there's winter. You appreciate autumn because there's spring. In my
Mm-hmm.
side, you appreciate dry season because there's rainy season. You appreciate Hamatan because there's hot season. So you have to, in the Bible, it is said, I've learned to abound and to abase. It means that I know how to manage a high tide, I know how to manage a low tide, I know how to manage the seasons of life. You can't expect a unidirectional flow in life.
True.
You have to understand cycles and know how to flow within those different seasons.
I agree.
So don't give up. Oh. I will give up, mess up.
This is what I like. What would you like your legacy to be when you decide, and only when you decide, that you are done and you either retire or God takes you back to the spiritual realm? What would you like your legacy to be?
I like my legacy to be the the person, the Like, here was the guy that led the liberation of Africa through.
Uh,
I firmly believe that Christ is the light that will liberate Africa. I
mm-hmm.
firmly believe it. It says, "In him was life, and that life was the light of men." I believe
Yes,
that that life, which is the light that I emit,
yes.
which is the light that I emit, is the life of Christ, and that's what will liberate my continent. Not in a religious sense,
I understand what you mean.
in an ideological sense. When
Yes,
Christ is the ideology, it's not just about like religion and stuff. When you have the mind of Christ and you can think like him and you can strategize like him and you can move like him and you can execute like him, I firmly believe that's the light that will liberate Africa. So if I can be a critical part of that happening,
hmm.
oh, what you see that will be.
I know that you recently been on tour in London. I would love to know more about your tours. When are you gonna come back? Where are you going to? I would love for the audience to know more about you and when you're going to be coming over again to bless us with music that you do.
Well, every nation, every city is open to the culture architect now, and no
Uh-huh.
nation can reject me, not one. Um, but I definitely will be back. I mean, I got the audience at the show. The show, that's actually what brought me to London. Was my
Yeah.
show at the Shaw Theatre on August 25th, and it was an
Yes.
amazing show. It was reflective. It was engaging. It was like the fullness of my essence. I went into the crowd, gisted with the people, went back on stage, performed songs, shared the essence of the song, the stories behind the song. I shared jokes, I shared pain, I shared different. It was like an amazing experience, right?
Yeah.
And towards the end, as we wrapped up the show, I got the audience to chant 4 words: "We will be back."
Aha.
So trust that we will be back. And when
Okay.
I do come, in fact, I have a few days left, just over a week, and I'm hosting Black Flame, my podcast, live
I like that.
In Manchester and in Birmingham with a live audience. Right. So we're gonna do Manchester on the 27th of September, which is next week Friday. We're gonna do
Yes.
Birmingham on the 28th of September, next week Saturday.
Hmm.
With a live audience, I'm engaging two different people. It's gonna be amazing. So those two are the final two things I'll do on this tour before I return to Nigeria. Um, Folks can check my Instagram page is Gaise Baba for details on that if you're in any of those two cities. But
Awesome.
after that, we will know when we're back in the UK, and then we'll probably be able to do like a proper show across different cities, like tour with a show, take a show and tour different cities across United Kingdom, at least England and Scotland.
I'm definitely going to come and see you in one of them for sure.
I would love,
Definitely. Definitely.
love that.
Um, So, Gaze Baba, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show, for blessing us with who you are as a person, for being truthful, sharing your laughter, but most of all, bringing the essence of your spirit on the show for us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me on the Us People Show. We found your handle on IG. I'd like to find yours as well.
Yes,
You know, and let's connect. Let's impact the world positively.
definitely.
God.
I'm definitely up for that. Anything of goodness where we can channel the goodness of who we are and help people to evolve, I'm definitely there. I'm definitely there. Guys,
Great.
I want to thank you so much for listening and watching the Us People show. And please remember you can subscribe and leave us a review on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, or any other platform that you prefer watching or listening to. Connect with us with your host every Thursday at 8 p.m. UK time. We're also on Apple TV Fire TV, Free Food Channel 271, YouTube LCBN TV. You can also listen to us on Heart Songs Live every Wednesday at 9 o'clock, the Ask People podcast every Tuesday, and you can also find us on the Savia Rocks website or go to the Ask People podcast website. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Stay happy, stay positive, and as always, please continue to be kind to one another. Take care.